Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are looking at the Transformers Blokies. This is the version 05 of the Transformers 1 kind of movie set variation. So if you happen to recall, I did get some a while ago. I thought that was maybe like version 1. I'm not 100% certain at this point, but in any regard, we're up to version 5 here. So I've got a whole bunch of them together. We'll go through putting one together ourselves on screen. So if you're kind of new to this, trying to figure out what these are non-transforming. Really, they're small models. So in that regard, it's kind of nice. I would say if you're trying to do this as a role-playing game and you're looking for the little models, these do work out pretty good. They're $5 a piece, so it's not overly expensive. But there again, I mean, if you're buying, now I had gotten a flat, so I got 9 of them to see what we are able to get. There are 9 different figures here, so looking at it so far, I do not have any repeats, and we will see what we get here. And this is a whole different one. So looking at the side of the package, I'm going to guess that we have all 9 of them. So if we look at it, we have Optimus Prime, we have B127, which is Bumblebee, we have Wheeljack, which that's who we have here. Then we have Orion Pax, there is Ironhide, Hound, D16, Sentinel Prime, and Death Tracker. And then there's supposed to be a special Optimus Prime as a rare one, but as far as all that goes, we've got the base here, so that is very nice. Not something I expected, but knowing how my luck normally goes, I figure that if there's a chance that you're going to miss out on a couple, I would just naturally assume that I'm going to miss out on a couple. But the fact that we got all of them, except for a special one, but I still have a Optimus Prime as well as all the others, I'm perfectly fine with that. I can only get this piece in here. So the nice thing is because I've put a couple of these together, I have the format down pretty well. And what I'm doing here is we have a base here, and then this is a front kind of specialized piece for our shins. The base body for the robot really is this, and this is kind of universal. So we have this, that's our neck, this is for our arms, and to get our arms out there so everything works, we have these little extenders. The only one that it was a little different on is Optimus Prime. Instead of having the extenders, his front piece actually extended out for the arms. So that was kind of a little bit of a change here. Kind of nice. Something not really expected, but kind of nice. And then I can look at this. And I have the extra color, so that's going to go in the front. And this is going to be a plain, so that goes in the back. And because I'm working on more of the legs here, as I'm just kind of putting this all together, you get your joint. If you know how that joint moves, I was fighting with one. Inadvertently, I'm trying to put it in backwards, so it's not saying it can't happen. You'll be looking at it and it's like, oh yeah, it goes in this way, but obviously no, it didn't. That's just me not quite paying attention like I should. Our feet, a little bit of a ball joint there for the foot, and this works out pretty good. You know, these are, like I said, they're kind of nice little models. There's no painting involved. To try and get kids into doing models, I think it's a pretty good way of doing it, because you don't have to do any painting, you don't have to do any major work here to get this all going. It's just kind of a nice fun little model, pretty much like putting a Lego set together in that same regard. Now I'm going to put on the fists, and I've got the wrong side. Let's see. There we go. So this is kind of a universal setup here. So I can easily say that's going to go on here. This is our back. And then the only tricky part is, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it. There are little tabs here to try and fit this in to our armor correctly. So once we get that going, then everything else kind of flows pretty nicely. Get our joints, a little bit of a snap there so we know we have everything in there how we want it. I will say that in the end, if you do get repeats, if you're buying it a little here and a little there, you know, we could easily change certain pieces out and essentially start making your own. That's not a bad thing in a way. Now we get our legs. There's one. There's two. The hands are going to be left over. Now these go onto our shoulders. So we have little grooves that we just kind of fit in there, and we will hear a little snap. And that works out pretty decently. All right. Now, typically what I've been finding is I have one extra ball joint here, and then the hands sitting there. So they're a little different in those regards. Now this is a different head mount. He's got more of a skull look to him. Alright, so that fits there. Now I'm kind of wondering if I put the head on afterwards. I think I do. Or the face on. Nope. Looking at that, I guess I have to put the face on, then the helmet. So I did have one of them where I actually had to put the face plate on, and that would be our death tracker here. The face went on after the helmet, so sometimes when we're doing this, it is a little bit of a guess and a little bit of a gamble, trying to make sure I'm doing this correctly, but in the end it does work out nicely. And something just does not seem quite right. Alright, I do have the instructions here. And it really doesn't see anything for Wheeljack, except for, I hate to say it, I know I'm having problems. I'm putting them upside down. He goes on like this. Instead of being a big old forehead, it goes on like that, and then this goes on, and then we're good. Alright, that's our faceplate. So we pretty much have them together. All we have to do is just kind of slide our legs in, and he's nicely together. Now I've done, a couple here, and I'll put them onto our base. Oh, come on. So when we look at it, we do have a couple spots here that we can actually fit it. Some of them it'll fit here as well as forward a little bit. So you could have him back or centered like he is. Oops. And then we have the generic blaster to give him, which is a-okay. Now I've been just taking the extra hands and that, and I've been setting them aside. But looking at them, And they're all fairly well done the same way here. So when we spin them around, it's the same base model pretty much all the way through. A little bit of a difference here. This version does have the holes and all that underneath here. I don't know if we actually have that on the prior ones. I think they were done a little bit differently, and I can show you here in a minute because I do have them on the pool table, oddly enough. But as we look at them, I mean, looking at Optimus Prime, we do have his Energon axe, and he looks pretty good. And this is a generic piece that we can swap out. So if you want it to be a little bit different, like I said, if you have multiples, you can change a couple of these around and make them a little different. Now these are essentially the cog, or without their cogs. So we have Bumblebee, Ironhide, Hound, and Orion Pax, as well as D16, although he does have the weapons that suggest he must have the cog coming or started, or maybe he's got the first cog, not the second cog that he had taken from Megatronus. So they're kind of nice to see. And of course, then we get Sentinel Prime. And he's a little different because now he's got the big old wings on the back that we could probably swing around if we wanted to some degree. Actually, I suppose if I wanted them to really swing down, I'll have to take them off and then put them there. And he's got some blades. So if you want a Transformer with some swords, then here we go. Which isn't a bad thing. I mean, when I was growing up, all the Transformers pretty much had rifles and everything else, and now we're starting to see them with more of knives and the like. So it is getting to be a little bit different, taking a little bit more of the anime kind of line of how to do things, which isn't a bad thing. It adds a little extra flavor to them, and it's bringing it into a whole new generation. Whether we like that or not, I mean, that's always up to debate, but it is a little bit of a change. Now let's go see, because I do have all right, so we do have an older one, and again, it's the same kind of makeup for the legs, all that. This is all done the same way. We do have a spot on the arms, but it is in a different spot. It's more on the side, not on the bottom. So whatever changed, probably because of Megatron, where he's got his, they just kept that same mold, just colored it different colors, and we went from there. So if you do have an older one, it's going to be on the side or up on the top here, because I do have shoot, I have one of the Seekers or whatever, and he's got the weapons kind of coming down here. So but that's, this was able to change, so you just make one different piece or whatever and you're good there. So with that being said, it is a fun little series. We can have fun with it. Take an Ironhide so you can see he doesn't have any extra holes on the back where we do on some of them, to add the extra piece, the extra plate piece on the back. But again, these work out as just general drones if you want, or whatever else, because the funny thing is I do have Ironhide. Right here. So we get to see an Ironhide. And if you like the face from one to the other, you could easily swap out the faces and go from there. So, we have that ability. It's nice and easily swappable from one to another or whatever to create your own, however you want to do it. Of course, I'll probably leave these all alone. mainly because I don't have a lot of duplicates. I think I only have one duplicate out of everything I've gotten so far, which is perfectly fine. I'm not looking at devoting a lot of money, but you know, it's a fun little model set to do, and it's great to kind of help others see what you're getting. Just like there is a bigger one, so we will get that one put together as well, because I want to know what the difference is. What are we really looking at? And it's kind of helpful if you can see what it is, and hopefully I'm someone that can show you what we're really looking at out of all this. So with that being said, thanks for visiting. It's always wonderful having you here. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.